Yeah, I realized at an early age that there's zero benefit in being hard on yourself because I am no matter what, I'm a perfectionist and I get very angry at myself. There's zero benefit to self-talk that's negative. So
Yeah.
I cut that out of my life like very early on.
And how did you do that?
Well, I mean, from age 15 on, I was very active in martial arts competition. Right, so my whole focus was on that, and my whole focus was on getting better. And anything that would somehow or another get in the way of me getting better, I cut it out. Whether it was partying, drinking, spending too much time with girls, whatever it was, I'm like, that's got to go because that's getting in the way. And I found that negative self-talk gets in the way because there's the reason why you have negative, or I had negative self-talk, was because I was insecure and I was very ambitious and I really wanted to be really good and I wanted to be really good immediately. I didn't want to wait. But I realized somewhere along the way that the negative, like, in any way, shape, or form, I didn't need it because I was so driven, like that the negative was just getting in the way. It was like I thought that it was helping me because I was like, come on, you fucking idiot, like get going. But then I realized like, no, like there's no benefit to that because you already have like this crazy desire to get better. So just don't ever be shitty to yourself and instead concentrate all your energy on what you're doing wrong and technique. Mm-hmm. And that's why my technique got so good so quickly, is because I didn't spend any time with like I didn't spend any time after losses loathing myself. All I wanted to do was get back to the gym. But I just figured it out on my own. And I don't know how. There's been some moments in my life in comedy and in martial arts where I realized I had an error in thinking and I made adjustments. And that was an adjustment that I made like as a young teenager. I made that adjustment.
That's fortunate. I mean, look, I'm 47. I'm 50 now, but I was 47 when I figured this out.
Yeah.
And I didn't necessarily figure it out on my own. I mean, it had to be sort of made apparently clear to me. So, if I'd figured this out when I was 17, I would have saved myself and everybody else a lot of pain.
Yeah, it's hard, man, because if you're ambitious, if you have goals, if you're very into what you're doing, you're very focused on whatever the endeavor is. Whenever you have a setback, it's really frustrating and it's infuriating, and you can get very angry at yourself, especially if you're doing something that you know better. Like if you make an error, whether it's with archery or whether it's with anything that you do that you're really interested in. If you know that it was a lapse of concentration, or you're tired, or you just weren't focused on it entirely, and you fuck something up, it's like, God damn it, you fucking dumbass piece of shit. Like, it's so easy to do that, but you can't let that happen because it's a bad use of fuel. It really is. It's a bad use of fuel. I mean, I'll still occasionally yell if I fuck something, like, fucking fuck! But I'm not mad at myself. It's just energy. Yeah. I just have to fucking get it out. I'm just gotta fucking let it out. But I think thinking of yourself as a fucking loser is never good. Like, zero time. There's no benefit in it ever. You're always going to have frustration. But you have to also understand the process. Like, while things are going poorly, it's very difficult to recognize that it's part of the process. It's so hard. It's so hard when things are going poorly, whether it's with stand-up comedy or martial arts or anything. When things suck, when things aren't going well, it's so difficult to see past that moment. But you just have to. And over time, with many, many different instances of this taking place, you recognize, like, it's okay. I know you feel like shit. I know you feel like the world is ending, but it's not. Not only is it not ending, this is like totally inconsequential, and this is actually good for you because this frustration will add to your motivation, it will add to your inspiration, and you'll eventually get better. But tell that to a 16-year-old. It's fucking so hard, man. It's so hard.
I actually, I tell you, in me, it got worse over time. Like as bad as it was when I was young. And when I was young, I mean, it was so, I can't imagine what my parents went through. Like, I don't think I went 1 month without putting my fist through a wall at home. I mean, I got so good at doing drywall. I'm serious. Like, because that's like, my parents were like, well, you're going to have to fix that, right? So it's like, I basically became like a tradesman on the side.
Why didn't they just get you a punching bag?
I did. I mean, I had every punching bag. I mean,
I just didn't care.
Because if I got pissed while I was in my bedroom, there wasn't a punching bag there. Like, boom.
Wow.
I mean, how many, like even in college, like, you know, writing computer programs, and like if I screw up some line of code, like I would break my mouse or break my keyboard or whatever. I mean, it was just like so pathologically destructive. And, you know, it just got so much worse, you know, which is really frightening.
Do you think it got so much worse because you accomplished so many things and your drive just increased with the amount of success that you had and the different things you'd accomplished in your life, whereas when you were younger, it was almost like you experience fuck ups and success, whereas as you've gotten older, when a fuck up does happen, it's just so infuriating because you should be past it?
That's a good question. That might be the case. My thinking is a little bit different, which is there's an addiction at play here, right? So if you shift the thinking of this to that of addiction mindset, and it's hard to sometimes think of perfectionism as an addiction because it doesn't produce immediately the same negative consequences as the addictions to, you know, alcohol, drugs, and gambling, and sort of the less socially acceptable addictions. But I think what happens with most people who are addicted to something is their appetite for that addiction gets higher and higher. And so, you know, if you're addicted to alcohol, like an alcoholic habituates to a certain amount of alcohol. They have to drink more and more and more. And similarly, the need for achievement grew more and more and more. And one of my therapists explained this to me so well, and I was like, that is the most frightening, brilliant analogy I've ever heard. She said, you know, your entire self-esteem is based on performance, and anytime you turn to one of your performance, you know, addictions, and you don't get performance back, you lose your mind, right? So everything you have to do feeds your sense of self-worth. So if you go out and shoot the bow, it's got to be great. If you go out and drive the car or get in the simulator, it's got to be great. If you're trying to, you know, prepare for a podcast, it's got to be great. Like all of these things, you have to be great. And when you don't, it's sort of like an alcoholic who walks into a bar, asks for vodka, and gets water.